But why are they having houses, and why are we doing this?
All right, well, we'll get to that. Can you write down all these questions? There's at least 10 questions, and we're not going to address them if we don't write them down, because I can't just like keep addressing all of the questions randomly. We got to organize them, or it won't be clear. All right.
Okay.
So I got the broadcast going. So the broadcast for the Andromida team notes for Friday, the 19th, 2017 for May. We're missing May in there. Friday, May 19th. Cool. So let's get the link here for the video indexing and pop that right here. Okay, and then Jorge, Nelly, do you guys want to do the video indexing?
Yeah, I'm writing questions on the notes.
What time are we starting the recording? Just let me know that.
I just started at 2:42, I guess. So started.
Just started?
Yeah.
Just okay. All right. Okay, done. Working on it.
All
okay.
Right. Cool. So the goal here is to kind of go over the exit house network. You know, the plan for how it's going to work, what we want to accomplish. You know, all the details here. A couple things to remember is that, you know, we're not getting paid for this at this point in time. It's not like part of our paid responsibilities. There's no budget for it. Like, you know, so that's part of the work that we need to do is like figure out the budget, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And we actually also have responsibility for the treasury. You know, so there's the whole treasurer side of it as well. And then we need to set up a bank account. You know, so this is these are tasks. Set up bank account. You know, we need to create a budget, create a house network budget. Both up front and techniques. So I kind of wanted to go through the monthly value tracking briefly because we already know that, and I think that
we haven't done that. We have to work on that.
Yeah, but we already more or less know it, and I think it'll help us understand the house.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so really briefly, let's go over the monthly value tracking, and I'm also going to cover this in terms of like quarterly value tracking as well.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. So I think we're over here. Okay. So current exit contribution tracking. Monthly.
Monthly is the current monthly value tracking ledger, right?
Yeah, but we're talking about the log, right? So the monthly log,
okay.
Basically, this is interesting. Oh no, the monthly is different from. Oh, that was the housing one. Yeah. Okay. So the monthly one, we put out the announcement, and then we have all the people that reported back. Although I'm assuming this can't possibly be correct. It seems like no one's looked at this for a while. So if we go to the results spreadsheet from the forum, we see Zachary, Hadi, Jorge, Sandra. All right. So let's see here. Okay, so Sandra here, but it's like blank. It says red. And she said part-time. So obviously there's some mistakes here that need to be doubled and triple checked, right? Additionally, this is the monthly tracking log. So if we already have Hadi's information from weekly tracking, then this should be a yes, right? And you could have notes here. Notes, this is from weekly, right? Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense.
So under here we could say, oops, Note. Wait, no, this is wrong. So this would be 4th day of month, right? So this would be note people who have already filled out the form for the weekly tracking. They already are done with the monthly. Right? So that's totally fine. But it's basically, you know, did they fill out the form, yes or no? Like, that's pretty much it. That's all we need to know. And then we're putting the information of the form into the form. The information goes into the monthly value tracking ledger. Okay.
To the monthly value tracking ledger. All right. That still the simple form, the simple reporting is when they have finished reporting the full month, correct? Because still it's not over yet. So
I didn't quite understand what you're saying, but basically, like, if they're already doing the weekly tracking, they don't need to do the monthly tracking. The list for the monthly tracking is different from the list of the quarterly tracking. So if we come here to the contact list, these are the people who are in the monthly the monthly contributors contacts. And then we also have their contact information here. I can give you guys access to this as needed, okay? So the point here is that these are different people than the weekly core team.
All right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, makes sense.
There you go. All righty. So the thing to understand here is that it's very, very impersonal. We basically just have the form, they fill out the form, put up the information, done, right? So let's think about it in the context of quarterly value tracking. So with quarterly value tracking, you know, we already have all.
Clara's having a really bad connection, so she will be back.
I'm here now.
Oh, okay.
I don't know where it's going to be disconnected again. So if you ask me something and I do not reply, is that it, right? Thank you, Nelly.
Okay.
Cool, great. We're glad you're back. So in the context of the quarterly value tracking, we already have all the spreadsheets. We have the quarterly value tracking spreadsheet. We've got all the monthly and the weekly stuff, and we don't need another spreadsheet. We don't even need another form, right? And it's much, much more personal. What we need to do is we need to talk to every single person, take the number we have for their quarterly value tracking and verify it, and then make sure that the whole quarter is verified by every single person, and then it'll become blocked into the master ledger. So this is a task to do. Like, we need to create a verification spreadsheet for the quarterly value tracking. But the key is that this process is individual and personal, right? We have to fill in gaps. You know, look at issues in the ledger, right? But we need to follow up with each person individually. So does someone want to add this to the task list? The verification spreadsheet?
Add it to the task list?
Yeah, or just do it. We just need a new spreadsheet for verification spreadsheet for quarterly value tracking.
We need that one, okay?
Yeah,
right?
Let me try to explain this again. So for quarterly value tracking, it's exactly the same as monthly and weekly value tracking, except that we already have all the spreadsheets made. We already have all the information. All we have to do is verify it.
Mm-hmm.
And we can't verify it with a form. We can't just send out a form and have it verified. That's not going to work. We have to send a personalized message to each person, either with an email or a Slack message, saying, you know, we currently have you for 75% for the quarter of, you know, the first quarter of 2017. Is that correct? Please verify it. And they either say yes or they say no. I actually worked 100%.
Okay.
And then we need to note that down, right? We need to note down, you know, the difference from the tracking and the final number they get, right? So if there's a difference, we want to note that down, but mainly we want to verify that it's correct.
Okay.
And then it gets blocked and finalized into the ledger. So this is the final step of the work tracking ledger. So do you guys understand that it's a personal process and that each person might have slightly different variations of their needs and based on the changes and their work, etc.?
Yes, I have a question.
Uh-huh.
It's really stupid, but why, I don't know how to say it. Like, I'm thinking maybe I have the answer already, but we already asked the people to fill the form in order to track the value of their work. So they fill a form and they tell us I work like 25% and I did this, 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 and this. So now we are like writing to them and ask them if that information is correct. We are checking the information they gave us.
Yeah. So I mean, if you have you know, 3 months and each month has 4 weeks, that's 12 forms. So they fill out the form every single week 12 times. And then once at the end of the quarter, we're going to ask them, we're going to take all 12 of those responses, average them into a single number for the entire quarter. And then we want to make sure that that's correct. Like if we average all those numbers, it's not correct, then they should have an opportunity to tell us that. And it's basically like, it could potentially be our fault that we might have averaged them and done the calculations incorrectly.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so
yes.
So it's not just that they're filling in a single form and then we're just checking that they filled out the form. It's that they filled it out 12 times.
Yeah, I know, but like they are having their pay monthly. So if we have made a mistake, they already will tell us like I didn't get paid correctly or whatever. It's like after you pay them, I don't know if it's like it doesn't have like much sense to ask them if that's correct, except that at the end of the year something is going to happen with all those work hours or whatever. Do I explain myself?
Well, I think we need to step up. I think we need to step back.
It's really good to do it, but I don't know the purpose of it.
Yeah. So maybe you missed something somewhere, but let's go back up to the very beginning. Like value tracking as a concept has nothing to do with getting paid money, right? Because we don't have money to pay, right? So let's see if we have. Let's go to the past value tracking. I think in here. So under past value tracking, do we have anything here?
Or maybe, I don't know, like, I understand what you're saying, that it doesn't have to do anything with money. Or maybe instead of doing quarterly, do it like yearly. To know at the end of the year, well, and tell the people, well, okay, we track your value and your value was 70%. Do you agree or not? And I don't know what we will do.
Maybe it's just easy to track. Maybe it's just easier to track your value quarterly than yearly, because maybe yearly you will forget or lose track of it, but maybe quarterly you still have some idea of the information you record there. So
okay, yeah, that makes sense. And what if they do not agree?
With the FQN Community Network, we track all of our value in real time, always, every session, every day. It's always in real time, every hour, right? For me, that's the only way that you can do it correctly. Damn it. This is really frustrating. I guess I don't really have. I know it's somewhere. We just didn't actually track it very well. So let's just go over the whole thing again. Okay, so I'm gonna just go to the notes here. What are our notes? All right, and we're gonna go through the whole thing again. So what is value tracking? And let's make sure we index this into something. So value, basically the old systems are basically you get paid for doing someone else's work, and then they make millions, you know, the owner or the person who is you know, controlling the assets, right? And then the person who gets paid basically gets little to nothing, right? Person who gets paid gets little to nothing. Okay, so that's the old model. The other context of this old model that's important to understand is that it's all within a very controlled and specific top-down fiat currency structure. For example, the you know, European Central Bank, right, or the Federal Reserve of the United States. Okay. So that is the current situation. The new system that we're creating, right? Because part of our, like, one of our primary goals is building new financial infrastructure. That's what we do. That's the F Community Network. Is going to be very different, right? So the first thing is that we're issuing value based on people's contributions, not just, you know, their work or their obedience, right? So it's like the actual contributions themselves have value regardless of the time or the other work or anything else like that, right? So the value that is issued is actually tracked, and what we do is we track it, and then we can transfer it. It becomes transferable once it's tracked, right? And it can be transferable to equity, tokens, you know, whatever else. But usually it starts with credits, right? So you start with credits. So you have value credits, then you have equity and tokens, that, right? So then the other context of the new system is that you're issuing, you know, liquid tokens and creating your own cyber value transaction systems that are owned and controlled by all people, not centralized banks and top-down authorities. So basically, when we are tracking value, we're printing, you know, in essence, what used to be called money. But it's like we're issuing it ourselves. So the idea of the people's money is that we're issuing our own value, but it's not actually money. It's actually value goes beyond money, and we're saying we're rethinking what our value systems are as a culture, right? As people, and so we can track whatever type of value that we want to, right?
And we can track it whenever we want to. Okay.
And however we want to, and then we get to issue it, right? So every time we're tracking value, every time we do value tracking and session value tracking, all that stuff, that's actually us printing money, right? It's printing value, right? It's printing equity and, you know, in value that people can then transfer and actually spend in the future.
Okay,
right?
yeah, I understand.
But the system's not set up yet, right? So in the context of, you know, EXA, so let's just look at EXA's model. So EXA, let's look at me, okay? So Jay. So Jay's getting paid, I get paid $2,000 to the FQN Community Network, right? As a subcontracted worker. And this is $2,000 a Bitcoin equivalent, Ethereum equivalent, right? So we're doing everything in cyber currencies already. It's all Ethereum and Bitcoin.
Yeah.
So when we talk about value tracking, we're talking about all these cyber currencies, and tokens are all cyber currencies as well. So I get $1,000 of this, you know, maybe I get like, you know, I'm trying to get more like $1,400 of Bitcoin. Ethereum goes to J, right? So, $1,000 to $600 goes to business expenses, right? It's very expensive to run the African Community Network. Is very expensive. We do a lot of work without getting paid for it. So that's how much you have up front. In addition to that, I'm getting a $60,000 base salary per year for tokens, right? These are exit tokens. So if you take $60,000 and you divide it by, and there are some benefits in there too, but whatever. So $60,000 divided by 4 is $15,000 per quarter. If you add in the benefits, it might be more like 22,500. So 22,500, right? So this would be equivalent to our global minimum equity and tokenization. Except for EXA. So if I have a my quarterly value tracking is equal to, let's say, 75%, right? Then I would take $22,000 times 80% would be $18,000 of token equivalents, right? And then I would subtract minus the money I got paid. So if I got $2,000 a month, right? 2,000 per month times 3 is $6,000. So I would subtract minus $6,000 is equal to $12,000. So for 1 quarter, I might get $12,000 of token equivalent. Right? How many tokens this will equal, we don't know yet because we don't have a specific token to US dollar ratio, but we're going to have that. And then let's say $1 was equal to 1 EXA token, then I would get 12,000 EXA tokens. That make sense?
Correct.
If $2 was equal to 1 EXA token, I would get 6,000 EXA tokens.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
But still, the value is not the same.
What's not the same?
The value of the token is established or not?
Well, right now it's not, but it will be. The value of the token will be established eventually. But right now it is not. So does that sort of understand like what is value tracking and why we're doing all of this?
Yes.
That makes a little more sense? Okay, cool. So we're the if you look at the budget, right? So the exit budget, we have about 300 Bitcoins is how much we started with, which is equal to about 300,000. Well, it's actually more like, $450,000, right? So that's one of our budgets. The other budget is the token budget. And the token budget, right, is equal to about, $3 million, $2 to $3 million. Plus. So we're in this literally is the master ledger. Right? The token budget is the master ledger. And the master ledger will eventually go into a blockchain just like Bitcoin. So what's really important here is not only are we responsible for the $450,000 of the budget and make sure it's budgeted correctly and make sure people are getting paid and all that stuff, we're also responsible for a $2 to $3 million budget, which is literally the master ledger that we're creating.
Mm-hmm.
And we should be getting paid, like, I don't know, $3,000 to $4,000 a month to do all this work, and we're getting paid more like $500 a month. We're basically getting like, you know, a third of what it would be, and what the real cost should be. So I mean, we can spend endless time like going over every single little detail, but in the end, they're not paying us to do that. Do you see what I'm saying?
Mhm.
So we just do our best with what we have, and just like be like, here you go. This is what you paid us to do. If you want it better, you need to pay us more. But we're getting $3,000 to $4,000 plus in tokens, right? And we are responsible for the tokens, so we can actually make sure that the master ledger includes all the money that we're supposed to be getting. And this is very similar to our budget, where we also have equity and tokens and all that kind of stuff. That's part of our budget in the minimum global equity and tokenization. So are there any questions on like what is value tracking, why are we doing value tracking, and why it's important, and how it relates to the master ledger?
No.
Budget? Okay, so we're good to move on?
Yes.
Okay, so
Yes,
let's go
please.
back. Let's go back to our current value tracking for the quarterly value tracking. Have we created a spreadsheet yet for this? Have we added the spreadsheet to the task list? All right, well, I'll do this all on my own. Silly.
Sorry, I think that we were paying attention and we got concentrated.
Yeah, there are a lot of many things, and I'm trying to follow.
Spreadsheet. All right, but it just takes a second. It took me about 5 seconds to get that in the priority tasks. So quarterly value tracking. We already have the spreadsheets. We need to create the verification spreadsheet. And the key process here is that it's a personal, individual thing. We have the list of all of the people. We need to follow up with each one of them individually to make sure that it's correct, right? So it's very similar to step, like if you look at the weekly value tracking, you know, on every Tuesday we start doing emails, right? And
Yes.
Wednesdays we start doing personal phone calls.
Yes.
Right, so basically the quarterly value tracking is equivalent to the Tuesday and Wednesday of the weekly value tracking, and monthly value tracking would be equivalent to like the third week of monthly value tracking, and maybe the second week, like where we're doing emails and checking and stuff. So quarterly value tracking, we don't do the form; it's just mainly the personal verification and communication with each individual.
Okay.
Through messages, right?
Through messages, yes, and emails, and phone calls, whatever we have to do. So I think we're good on the value tracking. So let's go into the house. And the reason I bring this up is because the house is exactly the same thing. We're going to have a list of all the people, and we're going to need to verify them that they personally contacted us and did what they were supposed to do. Right?
Yes.
So let's see if we can pull up the house. Housing accommodations. So we know we have a spreadsheet, we have results, we have an accommodations tracking log, and then we have the general spreadsheet of all the timeline of the visitors and residents, which is the spreadsheet where all the information goes in. There's a daily for the ones that are an issue that are like priority, you know, for the day. There's the weekly, and then there are the houses. And the primary question is, do you have a place to stay? Right? And we want that answer to be yes. Please don't stop until the answer is yes. The answer is no. Then we tell that to Jay, Vienna, Exceli, Sky, Bob. I mean, it doesn't matter. However many people oversee the houses, right? So we can click right here. We can have the list of the houses, right? And eventually we'll have like the list of all the landlords, right? So here are the landlords, resident, landlord, right? So if we need to figure out who's staying where, well, that's who we talk to. We talk to the person in charge of each house, right? Hello?
Yes.
So does everybody
Yeah, I'm still here.
understand what we do if the answer is no?
What we do is that we will look for you, for Exceli, or ask them to look for you, for Exceli, for Vienna, for Bob, until they have a place to stay.
Exactly.
Or a room.
So the question to the people who run the houses would be, where is X person staying for X days?
Yes.
And then we would want to get an answer from them. And then we could either tell this person or they could just tell them. But the point is that we want to get from the individual, do you have a place to stay? We want the answer to be yes. And if the answer is yes, then we don't need to worry about it. It's checked off the list. If the answer is no, then our job is not to find them a place to stay, because how are we supposed to know where they're going to stay? Our job is to find the decision makers and keep bugging and reminding the decision makers that there is a problem, that this person doesn't know where they're going to stay until the person verifies that they do have a place to stay. So it's a pretty simple, it's a pretty simple ask. It's a continuous thing. It happens every day. It happens every week. It's nonstop. But in the end, the actual verification process, which is the most important thing, is simply, do you have a place to stay? If it's a no, then we just don't stop bugging the decision makers of where the person's going to stay until it's a yes. Okay, and the great thing about this whole system that we've created, and that's what we need to be charging for, is that it's all self-organizing. Anybody can go to the spreadsheet and they can put their name on the list. They can, see what rooms are available and then add themselves into it or switch with another person. And then we don't have to do anything. So really, if you think about it, our primary job is just teaching people how to use this spreadsheet. And the more they know how to use it, the less we actually have to be involved in doing it.
Okay, yes.
All right, so another task, which I'll write down myself since we're still working on getting this task thing going. So if I come over here, another task would be, and let's make sure this is under house. Oh wait, no, this is value tracking. Value tracking. And this one's going to be housing support. I forget. Totally spacing on the task. Very frustrating. It would be very helpful for you guys to help with the task listing. Is anyone taking notes? We're not taking any notes or anything?
Task listing, okay. Let me check.
Well, I guess another task that was.
We have other tasks. Shall we put it there?
Yeah, well, we definitely want to document all the tasks, but I'm just saying that I'm stopping myself in thought so that I can write down all the tasks, because no one's taking notes to write down all the tasks. So, in the context of the other task, that's the one, not the one I just forgot, but the other one would be, to make a list, a contact list, right? Or a list of all the houses and house verifications. But I think that is basically right here. When we have the houses, we just need to verify them, right? And it's like, who's the person responsible for the house? Maybe this is like landlord / lease holders.
I'm going to add the task to the master task list. Okay.
Okay. So we just need to know who the decision makers are, and the decision makers make all the decisions. You know, the leaseholders are the decision makers, it's never us, right? So we can help people find a room and help them get everything situated, but in the end, we're not making decisions, right? It's really that simple, right? In my role as treasurer, you know, there's a little bit of complication stuff with the rent, you know, but I mean, that's really should be focusing on is getting rent paid, because rent is due like tomorrow, and we don't even have a plan for that. Like, it's ridiculous. So let's add that to the tasks as well.
Should that be like a message to the people which is currently over there, or
What?
should we send like a message, or like the people which is currently living there, or ask them? Because if you said that if they're gonna collect rent, they should ship in or something.
Yeah, we could create a verification spreadsheet for rent collection. Right? It's like, have we collected the rent from this person? You know, are we ready to collect the rent? You know, and then we also need to, you know, note the transfer from like Bitcoin or whatever to actually pay the rent. And then the other thing here is we know we need to create the bank account. So we need help with that as well. I mean, as you guys should be able to tell here, this whole house thing is like running a whole nother organization, right? It's like,
Yes.
huge. It's ginormous. It should be, you know, thousands of dollars of work on top of everything that we're already doing. But it's like, it needs to happen, and we should get paid for it. You know, the budgets are problematic, and we need to figure all that out. But I mean, basically, the bottom line, just to go back to the bottom line here, I'll put it in the notes since, you know, no one else is taking notes as far as I know. So you have, you know, we have like 17 responsibilities, and we're prioritizing them. And me and Nelly should be doing that right now. But so we're doing all this training. So
yes,
the 17 responsibilities, you know, our top priority is client, you know, liaisoning, right? And you know, our plan and client billing, right? Because if we don't do that, then we don't do anything, right? Nothing happens. So then from there we have the value tracking, and then it looks like the house network is going to be near the top of the list. Okay. Finances, right? So you can start to see, like, you know, what are our priorities out of the 17 different project responsibilities. There's probably going to end up being more like 30 plus responsibilities. But the point is that what we're going to be doing is we're going to say, okay, we need to get paid for the house network. This is how much money we're going to get paid. So all this other stuff right here, here's a list of everything we're cutting. We're cutting documentation support, you know. We're going to cut, you know, meeting notes. We're going to cut, you know, blah, blah, blah. So these are all the things we're going to cut off the list because you're not paying us to do them because we're doing all this other work. Does that make sense?
yes.
And then we're going to downsize the work that we're trying to accomplish and focus on the priorities. And that just needs to happen as soon as possible. And then we need to create a report and a plan for that. You know, so I mean, it's just like, I mean, it's great to take a lot of time. So this is you need to do the reporting. You need to do the plan, et cetera, right? And the billing, right? So all this is like super duper top priority right now. And I mean, I'm going to go through this training for you guys, but I want to make sure it's clear that after I go through this training and tell you all about the value tracking, tell you all about, you know, how the house works and everything, it's still not going to actually tell you how to do every single little detail because we don't even know what all the details are. You guys follow me here?
Right. The thing is that we need to have like as clear as possible, because if we want to take care of that by ourselves and not asking you in a future time, well.
But that's what I don't want right there. That is what I definitely am not okay with, right? You just said if you don't want me to ask you at a future time, not okay, right? We have to be working together. You guys should be asking me constantly, right? I love this list of questions. I can't wait to go through this list of questions. This is what I want. I want constant questions, Skype questions, call questions. You know, we should be working together all the time, right? But if you guys don't even try to do it, you don't even figure out what the problems are, then it's like there's no, you know, give and take. You know, I mean, it's got and it should be always evolving too. You know, because I can explain to you how I think it should be done, but I don't even know. I've never done it before. You know what I mean? So you guys are going to be the ones doing it, and you're going to find things. Okay, this works. This doesn't work. You know, so it's it's not only asking questions like, how do we do this? Or I need this information. I don't have access to this, right? It's also, you know, this is a better way to do it. You know, let's evolve it and improve upon the system. You know, so anyways, you know, the questions that I will continually get more and more, you know, not aggravated or upset everything, but more and more pressure on you guys are questions like, you know, I don't know what to do. What are the tasks for today? Right? Like that question, you know, while you're in training, everything is fine, but, you know, months down the road, that kind of question will drive me absolutely nuts because there's literally, you know, 100 responsibilities and thousands of tasks, and it's just like endless the work that needs to get done, right? So to ask me that question means that you don't care or want to do any research or look at anything because there's so much, you know? Maybe it's like we want to help prioritize, and you have like, you know, what do you think is more of a priority? This, or this? That's a great question, right? Here are 3 possible things I can work on. What's the priority for today? As opposed to saying, I don't know what to work on. What should we do in general, where there's no suggestion, right? It's just, you're always suggesting something. You're always proactively, you know, engaging in the laundry list of tasks and responsibilities and projects. I mean, there's no limit to like the ability to work, you know, triple time, you know, and work 100-hour weeks, you know. So, and obviously we don't want anyone to do that, but I'm just saying that guy. And so then the other question is like, the one that you just asked, which was that, you know, wanting to have everything perfectly laid out to the point where you would never have to ask a question. You can do everything on your own. I don't think we want that. We want to be working as a team, you know, and eventually as we get better for value tracking, we'll get clearer and clearer systems. And, you know, this is another next step that we'll get to, you know, so we're going to be able to do better and better at this over time. So next step would be systems and processes, right? And this is literally developing and creating systems and processes. So the entire house network, you know, and this entire spreadsheet and how it's laid out and how we do the status, this is a system that we're creating. And this is where all the value is. You know, we're creating systems that then can be self-organized, you know. So over time, we'll get better at it, and it'll be easier to train people. But yeah, so let's just keep going. We're doing good here. So let's make sure we cover the actual questions. So there's the questions that we're asking. There's the house accommodations log, which is where the information comes in. And there's 3 questions there. Do we have their travel plans? And we do have a form for that they can fill out. If we don't even know their travel plans, we need to send them the form. Are they planning on coming? Yes or no? If they're not planning on coming, then we don't need to worry about them. If they're coming, and these are people from all over the world who are coming to these houses and these events, then we need to do the determinations of, do they know where they're staying? Julia. So I think that is pretty good.
So I think we should start working on body teams and.
Oh yeah, that would be good. But we have to finish these questions. So let's just make sure we get these things. So do you have travel plans? So this is a question. We have a form for this, right? If they don't have travel plans, we don't need to worry about them. And then the other question was, do we know where they're staying? Or are they planning on coming? Do they have travel plan? Are they planning on coming? Do they? Okay. And that would be yes or no. Yeah. So that's the same question. Do we have their travel plans, and are they planning on coming? Right. So we have a form. They fill out the form. If we don't know their travel plans, they fill out the form. And if they're, and then from that, the data from that is, are they planning on coming? Yes or no. If they're planning on coming, then we say yes. We need to find out what they're planning, and then we go into here. We update their schedule to make sure that it's clear when they're coming. And it's either green for we know exactly where they're going to stay, and they have a room, right? So Ethan's staying in the sink room in the Oakland main house. Or it's yellow that we need to figure it out still. Or it's orange, like this is like not good. We need to deal with this like as soon as possible. Or it's red, this is a crisis, like it needs to be dealt with now, today. Okay, so that's like the color coding. I guess I can write that down here too. So on the spreadsheet, color coding, green is equal to good, yellow needs to figure it out, orange is problem, deal with it soon, red is crisis. Crisis. Need
So we should start worrying about the reds first.
Exactly. And then that's also what we do here is we prioritize the priority list up on the top. Yes. So the other thing I want to say here is that, like, you know, there's a lot that goes into it, but in the end, having one person who's going to come and support like the afternoon stand-ups, you know, and help actually coordinate with EXA is the most important thing, you know, because like in the end, that's what it's going to take to do it. And then there's really only one person who needs to know about how all this stuff works, or at least some of it, you know, and then I know how to do some of it. Exceli and Dana know how to do other parts of it. So it's not like we have to understand everything ourselves, because we're just one component in a much bigger system. All right, so let's go through some of these questions, and then I think we'll be ready to move on from this.
Okay.
So the first question is, why does EXA have these houses, and why are we doing this? Why is this moving? Okay, so the answer to this one is Exceli, who is the CEO, right? He's the one who's currently kind of pushing everything. For whatever reason, his ideal is that, you know, work and momentum can only happen in person. So that's what's happening. Like all the events have to be in person. They want everyone in the house. They want everyone working together. I mean, we're talking like $80,000 plus per year, minimum per year, to have people working together. And it could easily be as much as like $150,000. And this isn't even office space. So it's like, it's just like, it's insane. I mean, for me, when we only have like, you know, when we're, the idea of spending, you know, a third of our budget on housing is crazy.
That's a lot.
But he's the CEO. So he's basically pushing it. Nobody's questioned him up. There's a whole bunch of issues here in the executive. So there's executive tasks. Executive tasks that I need help with. You know, Jay needs lots of help here, where we need to be pushing strategic decision making to deal with our budget. Every time we spend money on housing, every time we spend money on developers, every time we spend money on everything else, that's money that goes away from the core team and goes away from us. You know, so we keep pushing, like, let's pay the people who are already involved how much money they need to actually stay involved instead of blowing all this money on everything else. It's just like nuts. But anyways, that's a strategic issue. So that's why we're doing the housing. There's in the next week there is a major event in Santa Cruz. So we have people coming from all over the world. There's also, you know, filming, documentary, you know, crowdfunding videos, right? So we have film crews and, you know, all different types of people who are working on all different types of stuff who are coming through. So is that question answered? Do we have any other questions on that?
No, I understand now.
The other particularly important thing to understand is that we're paying for this house, right? This house, we have rent due. This one is not applicable. There's no rent, right? Or at least there might be tokens, right? Question mark tokens. So I might be doing token budgets for this stuff. This one, it looks like this might have rent, you know? This is obviously not applicable, no rent, might have tokens. This is Bob House, not applicable, maybe tokens. The Boulder Creek House, I don't know. I think it's Sean's house. Benny's Place is not really applicable. Oakland Bryan House is also going to be tokens. So this all goes into the token budget.
So by tokens, you mean Bitcoins?
No, exit tokens.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so Bitcoins would be upfront money. So anything that's currently exchangeable money, including Bitcoin, Ethereum, like any kind of currency, whatever, that would all be upfront.
Oh, okay. Okay. This is just extra tokens. Okay.
Exactly.
Okay.
Remember, we're creating new economic systems with new trading models. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So let's go back to our notes here. Next question. What do we have to do? So the number one priority that I'm asking people to do is exactly the same as the value tracking. And what we want to do is take this this list right here, the housing accommodations tracking log, and fill it in for everybody. I mean, it can be as simple as like, okay, there's 3 Excelis, right? That's a problem. Let's fix that. You know, do we have their travel plans? Yes, obviously we have the travel plans. How do we know they have their travel plans? We can look on here and we can see that Exceli is an ongoing resident and he's paying rent. So here we could say yes, yes, and yes, question mark. So there's a little bit yellow here in terms of like finalizing that room. He might move to leave that room for someone else, but yeah. And then there's also the Santa Cruz event. You know, we could do this all for the Santa Cruz event all over again because everybody who's in the Oakland house are all moving to the Santa Cruz house, to one of the mini Santa Cruz houses for the week of the Santa Cruz event. So let's go through this in more detail. Step 1, you know, is the form, which is pretty much done. Step 2.
Now it's getting clear for me at least.
Cool. Yeah, we're making progress here. I mean, there's so many like little details, you know. So
Yes.
step 1 is the form done.
Yeah, it's really hard to understand something if you do not know the origin of the problem itself. So I know it's stupid, but now that I know why they have all these houses and why are they doing this and how this is functioning, now I understand that a little bit more. And now I can read the documents and all that stuff. So this is helping me out a lot.
Yes, and the other thing that's a good why is in terms of our relationship to it is Vienna. Right, Vienna was responsible as the treasurer and as the house coordinator. Right, she had all his responsibility, and she didn't do anything. Like I mean, the treasurer and all the finances are a complete mess. They're all wrapped up with their own personal accounts and like all this reconciliation we need to do. It's literally a huge mess, like huge mess. And the same thing is true with the house. The house is a huge mess. It's not, no one knows where they're staying. It's not clear. There's no organization, you know, with finances. And with the house, it's also just completely unorganized, right? So basically, that's why this wasn't planned, right? So these are two new positions, right? Like new treasurer positions, you know, including payroll, and we have the new house positions because Vienna dropped the ball. She dropped the ball. She couldn't organize it. It was a complete mess. And finally, people were like, "Okay, let's put Jay in charge of it. You know, we'll deal with it, and FQN Unity Network can deal with it." But it's not part of our proposal, right? We're not getting paid for it, and it's not in the budget. So that's a problem. So we need to put it in the budget. We control the budget, right? We're creating the budget. We control all the value tracking and the Bitcoins. So it shouldn't be a problem to create a budget where we're getting paid for this. But until we do that, we're not getting paid for it, right? And the budgets have to be approved by the boards, you know, et cetera, et cetera. So anyways, this is another part of why we're doing this, is that basically mess, crisis, disaster. And this all happened. This all was basically like, you know, that's like 2 weeks ago that this happened.
Okay.
So this was not part of the original plan, right? So we're taking on all this extra work, which again, they're not paying us for. So we always need to remember that we're just going to do our best here. There's way more work than we're able to accomplish. And if we don't do it perfectly, it's not our bad. We're not responsible for any of it, you know? The thing that we're most responsible for is the treasurer position, which is why, for me, I would prefer to focus on new house positions, you know, getting rent paid. You know, for me, that's the number one thing that technically we actually have responsibility for, is getting rent paid. Everything else, it's like, you know, and even getting rent paid. I mean, we are not the leaseholder. Right? If we're the leaseholder, you actually are responsible for the rent being paid. We're just responsible for helping get the rent paid. But the leaseholder is actually responsible for the actual rent. Do you guys follow me on that? And we're not the leaseholder. We're not responsible for the rent being paid. We're not responsible for anything except for just helping with it. All right,
Okay.
Cool. So step one, step two is cross-matching the, fill out the verification form. Such form is defined. Cross-matching the form with the form results with the spreadsheet of daily/weekly occupancy. And make sure it all lines up. Step 3, identify problems who we don't have information from and contact them one by one using the contact. Substep, if you don't have access to a contact list, then okay, and I'll get you access to it. So there's no need to like just randomly open up all the contact lists to everybody if it's not necessary, right? So another component would be like, you know, make sure the housing situation is clear. You know, check with landlords and leaseholders about the availability for each house. So this is the same thing as the verification form for people staying in houses. This would be tenants. So this would be the verification of the landlords and the leaseholders for the availability of the houses themselves.
Someone that has all those spreadsheets open, can they link them in here? I just linked one because it's the one that I have open. But if you have the other ones, please link it in here.
All right. Well, the main one is just this housing accommodation input form. I mean, input document. So this is the systems, the housing systems doc. So somebody should make sure that all of this is copied and pasted into the housing systems doc so that it's saved.
Yes.
So the making sure the housing situation is clear would be this tab here. It's the houses tab. And making sure we have clarity, like who are the landlords, who's responsible for all these things, right? If we don't know, then we need to ask Vienna Excel. Right, so then there's also the updating of the contact list. Let's make sure that is also on here. Updating the contact list. If we're missing someone, we need to add them. So if you need Excel or Vienna's contact information, then you need to ask me. If you're going to email them, you don't know what's going on, then ask us who the people who are in these daily stand-up check-ins on the house, right? So this would be the afternoon stand-up exit house network. Whoever comes to those would be the people who would have the most information. And so therefore, if you're not coming to those meetings, then you just ask somebody who is, in terms of like whether you should be sending an email that you're not sure you're supposed to send. But if you think it's the right email, then send it. It's all, it should be fine. But if you're sending an email to a landlord or Exceli, who's the boss, it might be good to double check, to make sure that it's the right email, right? For all the other emails, we don't really, it's not a big deal. You can always correct the mistakes. All right, so let's go here. Where do we have the information to do the task? Well, first of all, it's not a task. We're talking about responsibilities. And remember that, one of the most important things of having and let's use the symbol, a responsibility, is creating and updating tasks. So part of the responsibility role is to figure out what the tasks are. Because the tasks are going to be changing from day to day. Where do you have all the information? I would say this document is really the foundational document. Everything should be here. If it's not there, then that's a problem, and that would be a task to figure out what's missing. Figure out what is missing and make sure we add it. Remember, we've only been doing this for like a week, right? Any other questions on on either what we have to do? Or where do we have the information for the responsibilities and tasks?
The question was regarding where do we have the information to complete this task. I write it. This task. Right. This one in particular.
Obviously one is the spreadsheet, right? So there's the spreadsheet of the daily occupancy, right? This is where people are going to be inputting, right? 2 would be there's the form results, right? 3 would be the daily stand-up check, the house check-in meetings, right? So the other thing that we need to do that we almost forgot is to help schedule the meetings. So, and this is the house.
I have one question regarding that.
Mm-hmm.
This is maybe stupid, but I don't know. I think it's the fastest way. It's like one of us call every single day to every single house and ask, and are going to be insane.
Sorry, say that again. I couldn't quite hear you.
That isn't, if it is insane to call every day to every single house at a certain time and ask everyone in there.
There is no need because we can check in the spreadsheet all the information, and if we guide the people and teach the people how to use the spreadsheet in order for them to fill out their information and where they are going to stay, we are not going. We don't need to be calling to the houses every day to know the organization of the home. Because all the information required is going to be in the spreadsheet.
Yeah, but does it match the information they provide us to what is actually happening?
You're gonna have to say all that again. I don't know.
If it is always a match, the information that people provide to us in the spreadsheet with what is actually happening.
There's no guarantee for that, which is why we have to follow up with each person individually and ask them, you know, so the spreadsheet, right? This spreadsheet, right, of where everyone's staying when, right? This is the place where we kind of get a snapshot of what's going on, right?
Yeah.
And we can kind of see where are the problems, where do we need to focus, what's good, right? This is not the verification. This has nothing to do with what's actually verified, because this is not a verification system. This is simply a initial preliminary public open draft of where everybody's staying to kind of help guide people to the right place, right? The verification process is this. This is the verification. This is where it actually matters, where we personally ask every single person, do they know where they're staying? And until it's a yes, then it's not verified. It doesn't matter what it says here. If they personally tell us that they don't know where they're staying, this could be green, 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 and we're gonna go back and say it's red, 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 or orange, or whatever, until it's verified.
So the housing and accommodation tracking log, the one that you're showing us right now, this is like for that is on the other spreadsheet. Like we have one for the May 15th to May 21st, another one for May 22nd to May 28th, and so on and so on.
No. So I think we can just do it with one spreadsheet, right? So, you know, typically, like the other thing that's different between the monthly value tracking and the quarterly value tracking and this is that this only happens basically once. I mean, we just need to get the information from them once. They get verified, it's good. But there is this issue of, you know, is there a transition / move, right? So if there's a like maybe they have a place they're staying, but then there's also a transition and move to Santa Cruz. So for example, Exceli, we know he's staying there. We know he's there because he lives there, current resident, right? Current resident. We know where they're staying, you know, generally, yes, I mean, he's pretty comfortable, plus he's the boss, so he basically can stay wherever he wants, right? So, you know, I would say that's pretty good. This is green, green. But they're moving. Right, so this is a major move here. We want this to be no, right? So this is actually, wait, is there a transition move? Clear plan for transition / move, right? And this would be no, there's not a clear plan. We're not sure exactly what's going to happen here. And then this would be, you know, for what? You know, transition / move or what? And this would be the Santa Cruz event. And so this is green. We know that exactly what it's for. Totally applicable.
Yeah.
Right. So Andrew as well is going to need to stay. He's also going to need to go to Santa Cruz event as well. Right. So we have this whole other level of like, okay, there could be this moving in the Santa Cruz event and all this other stuff. And this is just yellow. Where is he going to stay right now? So, and that's why this particular week by week is not applicable. Is not enough. It doesn't actually solve the problem of where people are going to stay. And that's why we have the daily level. So the daily level is basically, here's the name of the person. Here's where they arrive. They're in the sunroom, you know, and they're probably going to be in the sunroom for a couple days as far as we know, but we need to check for the rest of the week. You know, and Thursday's done, so we can basically get rid of Thursday. Dick Bryan is arriving on, I believe, the 23rd, arriving, or the 22nd. So we can check that by going over here. Dick Bryan is arriving on the 23rd. So this would be a orange because he's a high priority person. So we can show here, you know, by room in the house, like, you know, maybe Mete's staying here on Thursday, and then it's gonna stay here on Friday, and then we have, like, you know, Santa Cruz main house master bedroom, right? And then maybe next week she's gonna go over here. So we can have her staying in 3 different rooms over the course of a week.
Okay.
But for somebody who is basically organized, we know where they're staying for the long term, like, you know, Laura, then that's fine. It's a done deal, right? But it also looks like Laura might be staying over here in Mark's house, the second master bedroom, starting for the Santa Cruz event. When is the Santa Cruz event? The Santa Cruz event is May 24th through 29th. And we're just, so all of that needs to be worked out. So on the daily transition from Oakland to Santa Cruz, we want to organize that here on the daily transition process. And we can do it by person or by room. So by person, we'd say, okay, maybe here she's going to stay in Santa Cruz, right? Like Santa Cruz master bedroom. You copy this and I can put it up here, right? The other thing that we're going to need is so we need to schedule a
My
housing
question
list.
was regarding, like, everything seems really temporary.
Oh,
like,
yeah, it's all
I don't know. People is like staying until June 6th or June 3rd. So
The days are different, right?
yeah, so this checking that we have to do right now is going to be like actual or stage truth, like for a little bit of time. Then we are having all the same problems again, or we have to check all over again.
Well, we never have to check everybody all over again. We only need to check with the people that we know are staying in the house based on the
Okay. And the people we do
the
not
list.
have the information yet.
Yeah.
We will send them a message or an email.
Yeah, so
We will
maybe
contact them.
yeah, so for
Yeah,
example,
so but my
George-
question was regarding the dates because of that. Like every single, I don't know, week or 2 weeks, we should check again, because people that
Yes.
is going to be in green is not going to be in green anymore. It's going to
Exactly.
be maybe an orange. So my question was, do we have to do this housing accommodation tracking log verification like every 2 weeks, every week, every month? It's going to be one for...
the reality of it is that it's daily. This is a daily thing. Every single day we're going to be checking in at 4 o'clock with EXA group and or at some point and basically making a plan, contacting people, you know, until everything is as verified and clear as possible. And then every time that we look and we're like, okay, this person's transitioning and moving, we would come over here to the log and we'd be like, you know what, there's a move. Is there a plan for the move? No, there's no plan. You know, why are they moving? What's
Okay,
happening
I
on?
understand now. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Yes.
So it's definitely more complicated, but basically the general premise is exactly the same. All we're trying to do is verify what is correct and what is missing. And then we just tell the decision makers, here are the problems, this is what you need to focus on. And then everything that is verified, we document it, right? The most important thing that we're doing is documenting the information so that when the decision's made of who's going to stay where, it actually exists somewhere, because otherwise it would only exist in people's heads, right?
Yeah, sure.
So before this week, it was all in people's heads and no one had a clue what the hell was going on. So now for the first time, at least when somebody says, this person's going to stay in this room, we can write it down and then everyone can see it simultaneously. And look, right now we have like, 5, 6 people on here. And some days there'll be more. It's like people are going to be coming to the spreadsheet all the time because there's going to be like, 40, 50 people who need to know where they're going to stay. And there's always going to be people that we either don't have there's going to be people we don't have their contact information for. There's going to be people who don't, respond to us. So there's always going to be people who are just like, we don't know what to do with, right? And it's just like, that's okay. And we just, do our best. So from here we have the houses. We need to check from each house that basically we know the availability, and we also need a contact list, right? So it's another, and we add them to contact list. And then we're updating the contact list. Do we have the contact list here? Let's see. I don't see it. So let's make sure we get the housing contact list in here. Take the board.
It's right there, down there. It's right there where you were. In the bottom. Yeah. Oh no, it's not in housing. It's in value tracking.
But that's the contact list for monthly value tracking. There's going to be a different contact list for the housing.
Okay. Okay.
And maybe we haven't made it yet. Let me see. Let me try. But it's like you guys don't really need the contact list until you actually need the contact list,
Yeah.
So it's like I can put a bunch of time and try to figure it all out, but in the end, you're probably not even going to use it today. Here we go. Exit network house contact list. Sweet. All right, any other questions on where to find the information? So the information through the task, there's the spreadsheet, there's the form results, there's the daily stand-up, and then just ask, email individuals, email landlords.
Is just one question? Is the Excel house network occupancy updated? Like update with the schedule, so everybody's there?
Are you asking me if it's currently updated?
Yeah, because I know that Isaac and myself we were just inputting some information over there, right, from the calendar. So we placed it over there and you complete it, but it's still updating, or it's already full updated?
I think that there's still things that are missing and things changing all the time. So it's not. I don't think it'll ever be fully updated, but it's good enough that you can use this for verification. Right, so you can begin the verification process using this spreadsheet. So if it's all pretty much green, that'll be verified, but we know that pretty much everybody's going to be transitioning to Santa Cruz for next week, which is why part of this is sort of problematic. So this is pretty much all yellow at this point because of the transition to Santa Cruz. Anyways, every day it's going to change, and every day there's going to be new updates and new things evolving. It's just a matter of improving communications, right? And getting it all documented so that it's transparent. So our goal is simply, I think that this is important to note. So let's just do a new thing. So what is the goal? What is the goal or outcome of our work? I would say that the primary goal is to assist with communications. So the information is documented and transparent to everyone so they can see and know where they are standing. Okay, where do we contact people from the contact list? Well, we have to contact people from the contact list. I think that would be a yes, right?
Yes.
Yeah. And the contact list isn't complete, so you know when there's contact names that are missing, you know we have some of the other contact lists that you could check, but then it's just a matter of like asking to find the contacts and get it all updated, right? I mean, it could take days or hours to update the contact list with every single person's contact information. But it's like there's already some people on there. I mean, and we have the other contact lists as well that we can use. So use other contact lists. So there's the contact list for public EXA list. There's the private EXA list. There's the network list, right? How do we compact email? Yes. Oh no, it would just be email, Slack email. Yeah. But primarily email. And then also you could call them. This would maybe be like me and people who want to call from the United States.
Maybe they use WhatsApp. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I use
But still,
WhatsApp
you don't
a
have the
lot.
numbers.
Way
we
to
do have their
contact
phone
them,
numbers.
but maybe a little bit invasive. But
It's invasive. Okay.
I don't care. No, I don't know. But maybe you are there hanging out and you start receiving like messages from work or whatever.
Yeah.
So, but I will do it definitely in a case of like worrying about some.
Okay.
Sure.
Yeah, but
Like I don't know if I will do it like the first time, but it will be definitely a resource. Of that.
Okay.
WhatsApp.
yeah, but I think overall
WhatsApp.
it's mainly just email that we're using email to contact people. And then
Okay.
the liaison will be doing the phone and the Slack, right? Because you can understand here there's a lot of work to do here outside the context of contacting people. It's just like updating things, verifying all the information we already have. And then we're contacting people, and that would be some of the liaison. So as far as the liaisoning goes, let's check in on that real quick.
Okay.
Maybe I should answer this. Freaking dentist, probably. Okay, so for the liaisoning, so this would be EXA liaisoning. So right now we have Jay and we have Isaac, right?
Yeah.
The best way to get involved with EXA is to attend meetings, right? So we have the this new housing check stand up every day at 4 Standard Time, which is 5 p.m. American time. And then there's the budget meetings, and then we need to schedule the EXA FQN, So for me, the goal is to create a professional, right? So the goal is to create a professional atmosphere, right? So let's think of a meeting. So let's say someone attended a meeting, right, to do notes, note taking or whatever. If you have 2 exit people there, and then there's like 5 FQN people to take notes, that's really awkward. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Right? We just need one, other person there to help take the notes, so that it's not awkward. We don't need like all of us to show up at one meeting and then nobody show up for the 5 other meetings, right? Why not have one person show up at 5 meetings instead of having all 5 people show up at one meeting, right?
Yes.
So in terms of like the professional atmosphere, it can get a little chaotic if we have like 5 people all contacting like the workers.
Guys,
yes.
before we
Especially,
advance on this,
uh-huh.
I need to tell you that we are already on the 2 hours of meeting.
Mhm.
So I don't know if anyone needs to leave. I have like half an hour.
Yeah, I have one more hour.
Yeah.
Okay, I have
actually,
half an hour. And
I actually was sorry. I actually was waiting for that because I didn't want to get behind. If possible, we I don't know. Probably Ana Clara, if you can do it this weekend.
You need to wrap up.
yes,
Just study some things.
You need to check out.
I'm trying to tell you guys that like, there are literally like 20 different responsibilities, right? And we're not even getting paid for this one, so it's not. It's important for exit because of the event next week, but overall, it's not like our top responsibility. I mean, we have at least 5 other super essential responsibilities that are like super duper important.
Which are the 5 more essential ones?
Sure.
Maybe we can write it down and split it over the weekend and get it done before Monday.
Yeah, that should be like
before like Jorge leaves, so we can have something to work on.
Yeah, because actually, if I can meet with Nelly or you during the weekend, just
I
one
can.
hour or 2. Yes, sure. So
we will
we can
meet.
discuss it.
Jay and I will meet tomorrow, Saturday. So maybe you can meet with us so we can discuss about that.
I'll be there too, but I think he wants to meet outside and just for work, like work session.
Okay, sure.
Yes. All right, guys. So yeah, right now I'm just gonna keep going, and I'll just meet with Ana Clara and check things out. Okay.
Okay. So that should be tomorrow.
Yeah, we should
Well,
schedule
we'll
it on Skype or
Okay.
yeah.
We'll
Sure.
talk to you later. Like, talk to me
Okay.
and we will schedule it, okay?
Absolutely.
Do you want to check out?
Yeah, please.
Check out.
So
Okay.
you guys need to leave. You guys need to leave right now.
Just me. It's just me.
Okay.
Because
I have more,
you can
like
check out.
half an hour.
Go for it. check
Yeah.
out.
Shut up. Okay. My phone is just calling me. So yeah, it was a long meeting, and well, actually a lot of things to catch up and start working, and we have due time. So it was good. Right now I'm a little overwhelmed about this, but still, it's good that we are like getting deeper with things that need to be done. So check.
Good.
All right.
All right, guys. See you.
Thanks,
I'll check a meeting with Ana Clara and yeah.
Maybe I can meet you too tomorrow.
Okay, Nelly. Okay. So see you tomorrow.
Yeah,
Right.
If you guys schedule buddy teams, just add them to the calendar so people can show up and come.
All right.
We will schedule it later. And I will add it to the calendar.
Cool.
All right. Okay. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye, guys.
Okay.
Bye.
So in the terms of the priorities, like what I had here was we have the monthly value tracking because we've been totally slacking on that. And then we have like some of the house network stuff, which is basically just starting that process to move it forward. Because there's so many things here. Like I wasn't really expecting it all to get done. It was just like, let's just do a little bit, right? And then there's all the HR intake that needs to happen. And then there's also client planning and billing, which is a huge priority to get that done. And then there's a laundry list of other things. I mean, there's always a laundry list of other things, but it's like there's a balance between just doing it and then training other people to do it.
What happens to me is that sometimes I go to the master task list and I don't know what has been done and what doesn't. So it's a little bit overwhelmed and I don't know where to start.
Well, I feel
but
like
if you tell me like these are the 5 most important ones or whatever, like I can like get organized with other people like Jorge or Isaac and just do it on a spare time,
So do you feel like you have that information or are you asking me?
I am asking you because not always I have that information. Like I go to the master task list and I don't know what of all is taken care of or what isn't or whatever.
Well, let's definitely make that a next step. So better understanding what is prioritized within the master task list and what is getting done.
So tomorrow, if I get together with Jorge, like before these other meetings, what can we do? Like, where do we start?
Well, for me, that's another responsibility.
Where is the most important?
So for me, that's another responsibility right there. Would be like, organizing and coordinating the master task list. This would be part of worker coordination.
Yeah.
So we have like worker coordination. You've got the responsibility.
I tried to do that with the Asana, but it's a little bit difficult because people is not working with the Asana. So I don't know what to do.
Well, I mean, I would say the first thing is to take a step back and like lots is happening, right? So there's no question that lots and lots of work is getting done, right? So I think that's the first thing about, working with the team, that things are getting done. So we're actually in really good shape as a team. We're in really good shape. So taking a step back and being like, okay, what is one thing that I can do to help out? You only have to do at a time, so you don't need to worry about anything else. So that is one thing that I would help with for you, is just trying to not worry about everyone else's responsibilities and all the other tasks, and just focus on one thing that you can do. We could focus and talk about your responsibilities and tasks in general, and what you would want to get more involved in, if you want to spend some time doing that right now. But overall, like because like there's a difference between overall priorities and then like a priority that's something that you can take on. Like, for example, there's people on the global team who can't even talk about this stuff. You know what I mean? Like we can't even possibly give them the responsibility or the task because they can't even literally talk about it, right? So do you see that there's a difference between like the top priorities and then the priority that you could work on, So I mean,
exactly.
Working on anything is helpful, right? Because there's so much to do. But I guess my question would be, there's these priorities here that we can go over here, which are the general priorities for today. Tomorrow it's going to be different, right? And then there are just going over your personal responsibilities so you understand more of your role and your involvement, because that might help as well in a bigger picture.
Okay.
Which one of those do you want to do? Both?
Like the first one, I want to know like what is urgent, or like
okay, so I can tell you all this stuff, but you do not need to understand it all. Okay, do you understand what I'm saying?
Okay.
Like, I
Well,
can
but
tell
these
you all
priority
the,
topics that are here for today, these are things that we could do tomorrow, like first thing in the morning with Jorge.
sure, unless someone already does it, right? If someone already does it, then we move on to the next thing, right?
Okay.
So, and you should be able to tell if something was already done because it would be verified. If it
Okay.
hasn't been verified,
Yeah, or
then it
I
hasn't been
can
done.
look for it and I will find it.
Exactly. So there's the monthly value tracking. And then we're also going to be moving into the quarterly value tracking, and this is getting into the idea of, the task to start the spread. We need the new spreadsheet verification. House network and communications. We just went over all that in very, very detail, lots and lots of detail. And again, in terms of like the house network and communications planning, I mean, this is I'm gonna try to break this out a little bit. So this is a project, the house network occupancy, or we're calling it housing support, right? Is a project.
Yes.
And then there's lots of responsibilities, but one of the sub-responsibilities, which I would say is the priority, is this one right here. Cross-matching the form results with the spreadsheet and identify problems. These two responsibilities are these are sub-responsibilities. They happen regularly, and because they're really more than tasks, because there's like 4 or 5 different tasks that are involved in these processes. And then another sub-responsibility would be the contact list. Right? And so there's a whole bunch of tasks within updating the contact list. Without the contact list, we can't contact the people one by one, right? So do these 3 sub-responsibilities make sense?
Yes.
Yes.
And so there are certainly, tasks and subtasks within there, but hopefully that'll make sense. So then there's the overall network communications and housing. So there's a whole bunch of other things here in addition to that. And then the other one is the client planning and billing. This is the first thing that you signed up for at the very, very, very beginning when you first got involved. In the first day we started going over EXA responsibilities was like the client relationship. What is the plan? How much are we billing them for? What is our budget? What is our overall coordination for our team, right? That is a huge priority, and that's what me and Nelly were going to have worked on today, but obviously it's not going to happen. So, but this is without this we can't bill, right? We need to be able to bill. We need to.
Do you want to I have more, I don't know, 45 minutes now. Do you want to go through this, the 3 of us, clients, planning and billing? I don't know. It's late in here, but I know that it's not late for you, so.
Yeah, we could do a little of that.
I have to go at half in 10 minutes.
Okay, so
and
I don't have that much. I have half an hour, so.
Yeah, and I myself have even higher responsibilities. I mean, higher priorities than that even.
Okay.
But in the context of the client billing and planning, there's the plan itself and there's the bill, but there's also the budget, right? And this is the budget proposal. We want to repropose, and get paid more money. And then this also relates to the bigger budget. And there's 3 budgets we're dealing with right now. We have 3 budgets. Each one is their own responsibility. One is the Econaut Partnership budget, and this is the big one. This is like $200,000. Then there's the EXA Incorporated budget, and that one's like maybe $15,000, maybe $13,000. And then there's the house budget, EXA House Network budget. which could be, oh my God, and that's like one of my top priorities is like the freaking rent, exit house rent. And so in 40 minutes, we have a finance meeting. There's prep for the finance meeting. Prep for finance meeting.
The finance meeting.
So this is happening. This is huge. This is huge. There's the
Yes,
government
it's
forms.
going to be next Wednesday, right?
What? What's next
Yeah.
Wednesday? What's next Wednesday?
No, the finance meeting. I don't know if it's on Monday or Wednesday.
The finance meeting is in 40 minutes.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
I have a finance meeting in 40 minutes, and then right after that, we're doing a house network meeting.
Okay.
Right? And then right after that, I'm meeting with Mel, and we're coordinating everything for like we're working on some plans that are going to relate eventually to house relations. And then after that, there's the Sonic double team. And then maybe I'll get a break. And then tomorrow morning, we've got the Atlantic team. I mean, it's like meeting after meeting after meeting nonstop. So it never ends. There is no
Well,
end to the work.
we should check out so you can prepare for your meeting.
Okay.
And we can talk to you tomorrow. Like, I will be meeting with Jorge early because for me it's like 2 hours before you.
I'll be there.
Okay, great. So we will Skype you, and I will schedule in the calendar the meeting.
Okay.
And we will try to advance in these topics like as far as we can.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Coolio. All right. So
okay.
Shall we just go ahead? Oh, and the other one that's important that maybe you could help out with, Nelly, is that we have 3 new people for EXA intake, right? For like HR intake. And so, you just need to help me make sure that we get those people scheduled and intake them. Obviously, you don't know how to intake them, but you can
I don't know how to.
I know, but you don't need to know how to. You just need to help me make sure we schedule them. We need to schedule them and make sure that they're intaked, and then you can learn how to intake them by, participating or watching me do it, and then eventually you'll learn how to do it. But,
can we do that tomorrow?
Well, I mean, it's not really that kind of thing. It's about intaking 3 new people, so it's all about their schedules. So what I'm asking you to do is help make sure we schedule them.
Okay, sure.
Schedule a meeting with them.
Okay.
Contact them.
I will have that.
And in some ways, it's just verifying that I did it. Check with me to verify that I did it. I mean, one of the things that we want to get into, and that's why our meetings are so important, is that the goal is not necessarily even that you guys are doing everything, because there's no possible way that you guys could do everything. One, because only right now there's 3 of us, and there's too much work for 3 of us to do. And then secondly, it's like part of it is just holding me accountable to getting the things done that are on the list, right? So did you do this? Did this happen? We need to start verifying all these tasks are getting done, right? I mean, at some point, we might even want to think about like maybe we need to maybe we get the global team. The global team can work on task verification and databasing. That would be interesting. I don't even know if we want to do that. And there's also one of the issues with Asana is that it's hard for us to really use it a lot because it's Asana, right? But the global team, I mean, imagine trying to get the whole global team using Asana. I don't even know how to start,
For me, it's like really easy. I don't know if I'm used to use it a lot, but for me, it's easier to use it than not to use it.
Sure, but you
I don't know.
understand
Maybe it's just a matter of getting used to it.
Sure, but you understand that there'll always be people who will never use Asana, right? That they will never figure it out, right? You get it?
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
So as long as you understand that perspective, we are good to go. So yeah, I think that this all looks pretty good. It's pretty cool. So anyways, that we have this list of stuff. We went over a lot of stuff today. So the goal here, like the ideal goal, and I'll put this as another next step here, it would be like, how do we prevent all this information from being lost, right? So, and this kind of goes into my checkout a little bit too. Like, I feel like sometimes people sign up for all these responsibilities. They're like, yes, I want to help out with all this stuff. I do all this training. I get like all this information out there, but then only 15% of it gets done, right? So we want to somehow create and have clarity on the responsibility of verifying that tasks and responsibilities are getting done. So somewhere, somehow, we need to look at all the information from this meeting and review it and check it off. You know, somehow, or not really check it off because there's going to be more than we could ever do, and basically, you know, show what was done and what wasn't done. I mean, I don't know how to deal with that, but I think that's part of what's missing here, and only so much.
Yeah, I think that's like the most important thing that is missing.
Yeah.
Yes.
And only so much of that can get done on Asana. And then this part here with the client planning and billing, right, which is also a super duper high priority. We haven't even gone through all the responsibilities to even lay out who can be what responsible for what, you know. And then there's the huge task of there's another huge task of, you know, creating and inputting all the responsibilities into a spreadsheet. I can't remember if we created that spreadsheet or not. It should be linked right to the top of the
I think we haven't
list.
yet.
So if I go to the responsibilities list, it should be like right here. It should be the #1 thing.
Okay.
So this is where the master list, there should be a master spreadsheet of responsibilities.
Wait, I'm putting all the responsibilities. Yes, I think we already got one master list for responsibilities. Let me check.
You did it, Nelly.
Oh no, but we don't have a spreadsheet. We don't have a spreadsheet. No.
I saw one.
Yeah, it's just a doc. It's not a spreadsheet. I will get that.
Yeah, well, we have the master responsibilities list. That's the doc, right?
Yes,
so
we have the doc.
And there's probably going to be 2 tabs, one with EXA responsibilities and one with FQN community responsibilities. So we'll see how we want to do that. We could make them separate spreadsheets, but yeah. So anyway, so we're making a lot of progress. We're getting a lot more organized. We're kind of jumping head first into some of these major tasks and responsibilities. So, you know, I'm pretty happy about it. And then we're also, you know, dealing with the realization that the budgets are very difficult. And we're going to be talking more about that next Thursday. Yeah. So, yeah.
And I want to remind us that it's been only a month.
I know. It's super short.
That we are working.
Yeah.
So, should we proceed to check out?
Okay, cool.
Nelly, you want to go first?
Sure. Well, after this, I am going to go to therapy. I love to go. It's very good for me. So, and after that, I'm going to go with a friend to eat sushi, and I'm very happy about that too. So, then I think I'm done. I'm very excited about how much we are working and how much we are getting done. The only feeling that I have is that with every step we take, we are advancing, but then I feel that we have so much more work to do. So sometimes that bothers me. But yeah.
I'll go next. Yeah, and it's crazy too, because like, you know, we're barely even on top of dealing with all of the EXA responsibilities. You know, like we haven't even gone over all the EXA responsibilities. You know, so today we went into a lot of detail about the housing. But there's, you know, we could technically go through that much detail on all of the other ones, right? But generally speaking, the direction that I want to go is not to basically have 4 or 5 of us in these meetings and do these like big trainings together. You know, I mean, I just think that it's not very effective use of all of our time, that it makes more sense to break up into buddy teams and then do more, specific trainings on the various work that people need help with, and asking questions and answering questions more in like asynchronous time, and just like doing everything that we can until the point where like literally we can't work on this anymore. Like there's literally nothing that we can do because we need more information, and then we do the trainings. For me that would be much more ideal, because it would be more empowering and stuff, and flexible, and like actually, because it's like my top priority for today, if we look at the desired outcomes, was to get to work, and we just didn't do that. Focus on client work priorities, So if we always want every single little thing planned out and explained, I don't know if we'll ever get much work done. Because there's so much. It's like literally like it's that much to do. Check.
Okay. So.
And also I'll just throw out here that it's like, talking about what's getting done and what's not getting done. It's like we're still not even to the level as a team that like, we even are doing notes.
I have your notes right here on your checkout. I was just copying and pasting.
So you did take notes?
Yeah, just on this.
Okay,
not that much, but.
Okay, cool. All right, go for it. We're making progress.
So.
I love that.
Okay, me. It's a little bit like, yes, boring training, but I feel like if I do not understand things, I cannot accomplish any task. So it's overwhelmed and it's a little bit boring, but it's what like enables me to work. So I think that sometimes this is necessary. I wish we would like advance more on get things done, sorry, but I think we have like strikes. Like sometimes we do a lot of work and then sometimes we are really stuck, but I think that's it. That's like how teamwork works. So I'm not that worried. Yes, I am worried about budgeting, and I am worried about like getting organized, because we are not seeing the whole picture in here. Like we are not on top of everything we have to work on. We are on top of just a few things. So I can imagine what will be when we are handling everything. So I think we will have to work on get organized a little bit better, like much better, and in training like effectively, like in less time and in better shape. So I will think about that. If I have any proposals, I will tell you, because I think that training is really important, and it's really important to do it in like little time, really effective and little time, so we can work on everything else. So that's it for me. And I don't know what I'm going to do right now. So I'm a little bit overwhelmed, but I will figure it out. So check.
Do you want to like talk more about like your personal roles and responsibilities, or do you want to like schedule a buddy team meeting or something else to like help you? I mean, because that concerns me that you don't know what you're going to do. I mean, that's what you just ended on.
No about this. I was telling like I don't know what I'm going to do like next in the next hour with my life. Like I don't have plans or anything. I was talking about that.
Okay. Yeah, all right.
No, don't worry about that. Like I would love to do like buddy team meeting and check and go over everyone's responsibilities. But no, it's not that I don't want to. I don't know what I'm going to do like
for the rest of the day.
Now after we finish this.
All right.
Yeah, it's night here already, so I don't know. Let's go dinner, whatever.
Go dinner. Go. All right, cool. All right, I was just making sure that you were not talking about your responsibilities, that you were talking about something else. Cool.
No. Don't worry about that. I will tell you right away.
Okay, cool. Well,
if I have any questions.
Well, we are looking good. So anything else, Nelly? We're good. We'll chat later.
Yes, we are good.
Okie dokie. All right. Have a good night.
Have a
Okay,
good night.
so have a good night, guys.
Okay.
Talk to you later.
Ciao.
Tomorrow.
Bye.
Tomorrow.
Bye.
Bye.